SpaceX is leading the effort to make humankind a multi-planetary species by advancing the human race's last frontier in space. The idea of colonizing distant planets and advancing humanity by conquering the stars was first conceived by Elon Musk. Elon Musk selected Mars as the first planet to colonize for humans. Elon set a 2022 deadline for the first Mars landing when he first suggested this massive project in 2017. Since then, Elon has backed off to a more attainable 2024 target date for reaching Mars. The question on everyone's mind now, since we are 2 years away from 2024, is the question, is SpaceX ready to put a man on Mars? Let's explore deep into Elon Musk's plan to have a man on Mars by 2024. The first issue Elon Musk had to deal with was how to transport people and goods there after initially disclosing his plans to arrive on the red planet and populate it. Mars is not in our nearby area. It is often located at a staggering 140 million miles from Earth. This is a considerable distance for a rocket carrying people to travel. To put this distance into perspective, consider that the Moon is around 240,000 miles away. The good news is that occasionally the orbits of Mars and the Earth do approach one another exceptionally closely. Every 2 years this event takes place. The phenomenon is known as a close approach when Earth and Mars are the closest to one another. There are 33.9 million miles between our planet and the red planet. In the winter of 2022, there will be another close approach, and this is why Elon Musk initially set the first expedition to Mars for 2022. The following windows will occur in 2024, 2026, 2028, and so on. SpaceX is set to work on the giant Falcon rocket's development with these objectives and deadlines in mind. This would be a 230-foot-tall rocket booster perched atop a 180-foot-tall spacecraft with 3 protruding fins. It was intended to dramatically reduce the cost of each launch by making the rocket reusable. The project was renamed from Falcon rocket to Starship in November 2018. The Super Heavy booster stage and the Starship make up this 2-stage rocket's second stage. The Raptor engines that Starship currently has can generate a thrust of 2 meganewtons. The Starship is made to be able to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and touch down on a specific landing pad. Additionally, the spacecraft can conduct on-orbit propellant transfer and autonomous rendezvous and docking procedures. The latest generation of Starship SN-15 is being developed by SpaceX in the BOCA, CHICA facility in Texas. This site has been dubbed Starbase because it would eventually house a factory for mass-producing SpaceX Starships. Over 10 years, 1,000 Starships are to be constructed. That is after the plant produces Starships in large quantities, roughly 100 Starships annually. In January 2021, Elon Musk announced that he intended to send 1 million people to Mars by 2050. He intends to launch an average of 3 Starships daily to complete this challenging task. Let's take a closer look at the first human-crewed mission to Mars before we discuss colonization. There have already been successful unmanned landings on Mars. In actuality, the Soviet Union's Mars 3 mission made our first successful landing on the red planet in 1971. Since then, several Mars rovers have been exploring the red planet and gathering data for science. But getting a human crew to and from Mars presents a whole different set of difficulties. The time needed to travel to Mars is the first challenge. Given the great distance to the red planet, it will take a very long time for the human crew to complete the mission while confined within a cabin being launched through space. The most compact Mars mission designs call for 400 to 450 days of flight time round trip. These can even be shortened utilizing orbit staging techniques with a 245-day round-trip journey. The astronauts' living conditions can still be maintained during these times. SpaceX's plan for crewed Mars flight looks something like this. Phase 1, Starship launches with the Super Heavy booster. The booster separates after delivering Starship to orbit and returns to Earth for future reuse. Phase 2, Starship enters Earth's orbit while a refilling tanker launches to meet with Starship in orbit. Starship then uses tanker vehicles, especially the Starship spacecraft minus the windows, to refill the Starship spacecraft in low Earth orbit before departing for Mars. Refilling in orbit enables the transport of up to 100 tons all the way to Mars. The tanker, after refueling, returns to Earth for future reuse. Phase 3, once Starship is fully refueled, it'll begin its journey from Earth's orbit, around the Sun and onward towards Mars. Phase 4, landing on Mars. Starship will enter Mars's atmosphere at 7.5 kilometers per second and decelerate aerodynamically. The vehicle's heat shield is designed to withstand multiple entries. So, when humans have successfully landed on Mars, what is next? Initially, missions are expected to be Mars sample return missions. This implies that the human crews would not be residing there permanently. Instead, they would remain for a few days before leaving again. SpaceX has not said if they would retrofit Starship to serve as a habitable area for crew during their stay on Mars, or whether they would deploy some housing to support the exploratory expedition. SpaceX regularly holds competitions for people to submit their ideas for the ultimate habitat. NASA has a few plans for deep space habitats. The NASA-developed Orion Multipurpose Crew Vehicle, or MPCV, is designed to be the personnel delivery vehicle for the launch or splashdown, with a deep space habitat module adding extra living space for the 16-month mission. Deep space transport, commonly known as the Mars Transit Vehicle, was another idea proposed by NASA. NASA has developed a design for a crewed interplanetary spaceship to support up to 1,000-day science trips to Mars. An Orion capsule and a propelled habitation module would make up its two components. These, however, are only ideas. We'll need to wait a bit longer for SpaceX to gradually reveal the specifics for the first manned voyage to the Red Planet. The moment will eventually come to begin building a permanent human presence on Mars once the first few rounds of human crews have left the Red Planet. SpaceX intends to launch 3 Starships on average each day once the colonization phase starts, with a target of carrying 1 million people to Mars by 2050. Initially, SpaceX intends to maintain a fleet of 1,000 Starships, each capable of carrying up to 100 megatons of cargo to Mars. The annual migration of around 100,000 individuals would result from each Starship carrying about 100 passengers. SpaceX has said it will begin by building a high-capacity transportation infrastructure as part of its Mars colonization strategy. Creating the foundation for a viable presence will entail sending supplies and equipment to Mars. Then they intend to create the spaceship landing and launch mounts with rapid turnaround. After that, SpaceX will implement in-situ resource utilization to establish local rocket fuel production on Mars, or ISRU. In-situ resource utilization, or ISRU, is the process of gathering, processing, storing and exploiting resources created on other celestial objects. In our example, in-situ resource utilization might offer supplies for life support, propellants, construction materials, and energy to spaceship payloads or space exploration personnel by utilizing the rich local resources on Mars, such as frozen water. The mass colonization phase starts once we successfully establish a long-term and sustainable presence on Mars. This will require the relocation of hundreds of thousands of people to the Red Planet to establish habitation and to utilize the natural riches there. If not for one man's crazy idea to colonize another planet, humans may not have realized their ambition of becoming a multi-planetary species. The new Starship rocket was developed with the intention of colonizing Mars. The 2-stage rocket, being developed under Elon Musk's direction, contains a number of features that will enable him to realize his goal. Its total reusability, for instance, will significantly lower the cost of launching people and goods into space. Because it takes tons to get supplies from Earth to Mars, cost is an important consideration. Additionally, the Starship uses fuel that could conceivably be produced on Mars, ensuring that there is enough fuel to send the Starship back to Earth. In order to fulfill his deadline of launching the first group of humans to Mars by the middle of the decade, Musk is pressuring the SpaceX team to work non-stop to finish the Starship. He intends to use revenue from SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet business to fund the project. Mars, however, is a highly hostile planet, and in order for colonists to exist there, Musk must take steps to improve it. The goal is almost to make Mars habitable like Earth. The lack of a protective atmosphere on Mars is one of the biggest issues it presents for people, but Musk has proposed a solution that, while ridiculous, involves nuking the poles. Musk hypothesizes that by launching nuclear missiles into both of Mars's poles, artificial suns will be created, warming the planet and creating an atmosphere similar to Earth's. With these, we can only hope that SpaceX is ready for the reality that might arise from these hypotheses and plans to put man on Mars. That's it for now. Did you enjoy this video? We sincerely hope that you loved it as much as we did bringing it to you. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. For more interesting and engaging information, do subscribe to the channel as well. Also ring the bell to get informed when we release new videos. Till next time.